last night, this clip came across my feed.
What's going on right here?
This man is being arrested.
For what did he do? What did he do?
We're hearing that he was distributing narcotics.
Okay, so they're getting a drug dealer off the street.
I don't want to characterize him. I don't know.
All right, they're arresting this guy right here. They say that guy just said he was arrested for narcotics, so he's either a homeless man or a drug dealer here on the streets. And now he's being taken by, it looks like we got the police and Secret Service. There you have in the bag whatever he was selling. They put it in the bag. So he was indeed selling drugs. So they are getting criminals and drug dealers off the streets.
Here, this person who is a independent journalist, conservative obviously, records the FBI and police activity in Washington, D.C., which I feel is horrible and scary, and I hope you do too. But he's recording it in such a way that it positions him as an expert, and it positions that they're arresting drug addict criminals. But really, what got my attention was he was highlighting this protester screaming.
There's the bag right there with all the money and the drugs that he was selling on the streets.
Here's an up-close look at all the money the guy had, and as this guy was getting arrested, after he had been arrested, a protester showed up and went absolutely crazy on law enforcement.
Oh, they were right.
Cowards! 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 But that's not all. He then walked and interviewed homeless people, asking them how they felt about this woman screaming and the police activity. Listen.
That's all they want. All they want is the drug dealers off the street and the people who die. That's all they want.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want. They're not trying to buck with the homeless. They want the drug dealers and the guns off the street.
Yeah.
You can't tell everybody that, but all they want is the guns and the drugs. They already found that out. They came to jump out the same way. All they want is the guns and the drugs off the street.
So what have the law enforcement said to you guys coming through here? Because that lady just came here, she was yelling at all the police, but meanwhile we just saw them arrest a drug dealer, and she's yelling at, saying they're taking away the homeless people.
To us. They didn't say anything. They walked by respectfully. They didn't give anybody any issues. I don't have a problem with law enforcement.
And should people be angry that they just took a drug dealer off the street?
No, it shouldn't be. I'm happy that DC is being cleaned up. And I'm not going to blame it on racism or anything.
Did that lady wake you up?
Of course, it's a disturbance because she was provoking on purpose. And, you know, you always got people out here, they say they're for a cause, but, I mean, it's almost 11 o'clock at night. It's very peaceful. The police don't have sirens going or anything else, and they were just decently speaking with people, but there's always people that will try to cause a problem deliberately.
Well, we hope you have a great rest of your night and fall asleep well.
I hope so, too. I hope she doesn't come back on that blowhorn.
In contrast, all I have seen from us, the homeless sector, is photos and videos of police presence, which I find disturbing, and photos and videos of homeless people's belongings being thrown away. All that does is it reinforces what the public wants, because you could have a very clean homeless camp, but in the public's eyes, they see all that as trash and they want it thrown away. So if we're just showing belongings being thrown into garbage trucks, we're reinforcing what the public wants. We have to put people in those tents, the human stories of people and how their lives are being disrupted, and even more importantly, how that disruption makes it harder to get people off the streets. But what's interesting is this media publishing strategy that right-wing influencers use, and they're funded to go and tell these stories. They're interviewing homeless people, and we are not. And I'm sure there might be some interviews from advocates that I haven't seen, but mostly I've just seen belongings being thrown away and police presence, which is disturbing to me, but to the public. So when you see this woman screaming, and when you hear from homeless people themselves that what's bothering them is the protesters screaming, not the police, how do you think that influences the public? Support for criminalization of homelessness continues to grow while the support for housing as a solution to homelessness continues to decline, and we keep on recycling the same sound bites expecting change. You might remember from our Finland documentary, we went out with Helsinki Outreach, and they told us about a social report that they fill out that goes to their supervisors, to the news media, and the politicians all at the same time. And no one can influence what the outreach team writes in this report. That is a culture that truly wants to improve housing first. It's a culture that accepts there's some things that we're probably doing that we could do better, and let's develop a system so that there's a feedback loop so we can improve. But for us, it was socially and politically unacceptable to say anything negative about housing first for many, many years. That has changed a little, but we're still have our heads in the sand, stuck on stupid, not paying attention to what's happening in the world. We recycle these sound bites thinking that they're going to influence change. We're over-reliant on legacy media. We don't embrace modern communication styles, and we don't have a culture that is open where people can give feedback to fix what is broken. We're not going to see the change that needs to happen in the homeless sector until philanthropy funds communication and advocacy at the level that the right-wing philanthropy is funding Cicero and Manhattan and Discovery and all the organizations and people pushing for criminalization. We need a culture change, and if that culture change doesn't happen, we're screwed. This is our 6th podcast with Ian DeJong. All of them have been some of the most powerful and authentic conversations ever to come out of the homeless sector. And I hope that you listen to this podcast. I hope you watch this podcast with the spirit of an open mind and possibly looking at, okay, some of this makes sense.